My provocation is, how do universities know that their students graduate with adequate levels of oral and written communication skills? And my answer to that is they don't know. That's a short answer to it, but it's a rather complex picture. Now, they don't know because, right? Okay. They don't know because basically communication skills, no matter how we construct it, is largely invisible in the curriculum, and it's invisible because it's not overtly assessed strategically across the range of year levels across a degree program. Now, there are exceptions to this, of course, okay? But by and large, most of the work that I did around the university seemed to indicate that this was not the case. And I can get into all the complexities around why this happens, and there's been lots of research that's delved into that, and you're probably all very well aware of it. So I'll just highlight two or three things that are crystal clear in the research and in my talks with people around the fellowship that should really be guiding our practice. One is that we really have to focus on how we can have high impact on student learning. And how we have high impact on student learning to a certain extent is measured by how much we take it seriously and therefore assess it. And there's very little evidence that that occurs in some areas. Okay. The other thing is that we need to be very careful about how we construct communication skills, because there isn't a one standard of communication skills that fits all courses, all disciplines, because the requirements are vary across disciplines. But it's much more than just spelling and grammar. And it gets reduced very often to spelling and grammar, therefore an issue of entry, and therefore a problem of secondary school education, and therefore not an issue within the higher education context. And that is also a problem. The third thing is that we very nicely, and we've done it in the discussions today, separate the knowledge that we want students to acquire with the skills that we want them to have. And in fact, they should be integrated. So how, for example, can students demonstrate that they know how to put a spaceship together if they can't actually voice and communicate the knowledge and ideas and systematically put it through on a piece of paper or do an oral presentation that communicates effectively how you would go about doing that? They're linked together, and so we can't have the narrative that goes around often in higher education, which is, from academics which is they might not have expressed it properly, but I know that they understand what I'm talking about. Because if I was up here talking Greek to you about this stuff, you would not be understanding what I'm talking about. So it's a very different issue. Okay, so they're the problems. What do we do about it? Well, clearly, it needs to be integrated into disciplinary learning, and that's a common theme that's come out through what we've been talking about today. And how does that happen? The first step should be we should be assessing it. It should be part of assessment, and students should be failed if they don't reach a certain level of communication skills, and we shouldn't be shy in doing that. And that requires universities to take a bit of a harder stance than what they have been doing and put a lot more effort into this. And a lot more effort means that course coordinators need to have a better understanding of where communication skills is going to be assessed, how it's going to be assessed, how it's building on that knowledge. We need to have academics being a bit more, taking a bit more responsibility about being able to assess it, because after all, they assess journal articles for consistency and clarity of communication. They can do it for students as well. And the teaching has to happen within our academic language and learning advisors, who are there in every institution and are looking for legitimacy in their role. But we need to rethink how we operate with them. And above all, we need to have a better evidence-based approach about what high impact teaching and learning looks like in the communication skills area. And that's the next project. Thank you.